A young couple appeared to live a happy and glamorous life. What was masked was a stark and dark reality. Hello, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel, and thank you for clicking on this video. Today's story is the story of Kim Towne, a young mother whose life was tragically cut short, and Alexander Towne. Kim was born on the 22nd of October 1992 and grew up in the Parklands area in Blobergstrand in Cape Town, where she grew up with her mom and siblings and extended family. She attended Trafalgar High School. Side note, this was the first school built in Cape Town for Black and mixed students. Anyway, back to the story. And Kim also attended Blobergstrand High School, where she graduated her compulsory education. She furthered her studies by obtaining a certification in IT, professional development, and a diploma in education from the Institute of Education and Training. Kim worked in Johannesburg for a period of time as a project manager before moving to Bahrain. Now, some reports say Kim moved to Bahrain and some say Dubai. I couldn't find one that conclusively said one way or another, but she moved to the Middle East. Kim moved to one of those countries. Kim moved to one of those, either Bahrain or Dubai, to pursue her passion of being a teacher. And she became a kindergarten teacher there. And it was here, possibly here, where she met Alexander Towne. Like I said before, some reports say she was in Bahrain and some say she worked in Dubai. But one thing that is reported on consistently is that they met in Dubai. Alexander Towne is a U.S. military veteran. And from the very first time they met, they fancied each other right off the bat. And from then on, they started seeing each other and they fell for one another. Then, according to Kim's brother, shortly into dating, Kim fell pregnant whilst still in Dubai. And because of Dubai's issues with having children outside of marriage, they decided to get married in December of 2021. Now, I looked up Dubai's laws in terms of pregnancy outside of wedlock and whatnot. The United Arab Emirates decriminalized coitus outside of marriage, meaning it's no longer illegal falling pregnant before or outside of marriage. All of this was highly illegal pre the law change in 2021. But having said that, even with the law change, couples and women still face issues in terms of how the law is enacted. And the following are the main issues faced. The first one being the registration of births, and the second one being medical insurance. Now, the first one, the birth registration. According to the UAE government website states that the men and women must be legally married to each other to get legal recognition for their child. Reportedly, if the mother cannot provide a marriage certificate that is required to issue a birth notification, hospitals will call the police, who will then refer a file to a police status court for a judge to issue a decision on how to register the birth. We are talking court processes, judicial authorities. It's a lot, especially for a new mother to have to go through. It's a lot. And on top of that, regarding the medical insurance, and to top that off, regarding the medical insurance element of it, women who are unmarried at the time of admission should not be offered cover on maternity insurance. This is what the government website says at the time of recording this, even with the law change. So I'm still unclear on the legislation itself on this, on what it actually means. But what is clear to me is that the best thing to do, it seems like, and the best possible option to exercise is to get married to avoid any confusion. And definitely the safest option, really, if one is in this kind of situation. So yeah, for Kim and Alexander, apart from wanting to be together, it makes the most practical sense for their situation whilst they're in Dubai to get married, and they did just that. After getting married, they made a decision to relocate to South Africa, and of course her family was absolutely thrilled about having Kim moving closer to home again, as any family would be. Kim and Alex first stayed in Milnerton, Cape Town, upon moving to South Africa. then shortly moved to Gordons Bay, a very picturesque coastal town, part of the Cape Town municipality that probably has some of the best sunsets one can ever witness. My partner would probably love to visit there actually, as he's absolutely obsessed with sunsets. I digress. And I imagine Kim and Alex enjoyed an evening stroll or two by the beach at least once or twice, whether by themselves or together, with Alex reportedly being very, very present and truly very supportive to Kim during the pregnancy, during this time or this period of their relationship. At least in terms of outside appearances, he was very supportive and very present. The couple then decided on moving again, but not before having their child, a baby boy. And when their son was 3 months old, they started the process of relocating. They decided on moving to the United States of America to raise their family and start afresh. Alex went back to the US first, while Kim and the baby stayed behind in South Africa. This was to attain a visa for Kim so that she could eventually join him there with their son. Kim's visa application was successful, and in August of 2023, the couple reunited and together with their son moved to San Diego, California. The couple remained there until very recently when they moved to Chantilly, not the lovely delicious aerated cream. They moved to Chantilly in Virginia, where Alex worked as an analyst with the Defense Health Agency. Their neighbors in Chantilly actually described them as a very nice and happy couple. They would go on family strolls with their son and living the family life, just generally speaking. On May 24th, 2025, a 911 dispatcher takes a call from a man at around 10 to 8. The man making the call is crying, and he proceeds to tell the dispatcher that he's had an argument with his wife. He goes on to say that he choked his wife during the argument and that he doesn't think she's with us anymore. The dispatcher dispatches the information to the police and other relevant emergency services. When the Fairfax County Police arrive at the house the call had originated from, they find the woman, the wife, deceased. They also find a 3-year-old also in the house, physically unharmed and uninjured. The man making the call was Alexander Towne, calling from their home, and the woman was his wife, Kim White Towne. He had strangled his wife to death. He had strangled the life out of her. And their son was in the house whilst all this happened. The things that little boy must have heard. Alexander was taken to custody and was arrested for allegedly taking Kim's life by the Fairfax County Police, and continues to be remanded without bail and is due to appear in court sometime in July, sometime this month. And he's charged with second-degree murder. Only time will tell if he spends the rest of his life in prison for what he did or not. But it's a second-degree murder charge, so I don't know, very likely not. So what subsequently happened and what subsequently came to light was a very dark truth of Kim's relationship and marriage to Alexander. Kim's American dream and Kim's American dream life was deeply troubled and isolated, and gave quite a clear picture in terms of Kim's marriage and relationship with Alexander. Kim's brother spoke out on his sister's passing and gave quite a clear picture in terms of Kim's relationship and marriage with Alexander. Alexander portrayed a kind, caring, and supportive partner, even described as calm and soft, seeming like he would not hurt a fly, but behind closed doors was a very different story and a very different man. According to Kim's brother, whom she shared an incredibly deep bond with, Kim had suffered a torrent of maltreatment from Alex, including Alex putting his hands on Kim for years. And Kim's family knew and tried to encourage her to leave him, but Kim loved him, they said. I quote Kim's brother, "My mother would be on the phone with her for hours, concerned about her safety, and she would be crying on the phone to my mother, locked in her room whilst my mother could hear him banging on her door. They would tell her to come home." Then they tried to encourage Kim to leave Alexander, but Kim loved him very much, they said, sadly. And I imagine there's a sense of not wanting to make things worse when it comes to the family from the family side of things. It's a delicate process and a delicate balance at times between pushing too hard for loved ones to leave these toxic situations and not wanting or meaning to, but ending up pushing them away sometimes towards the hands of an abuser. And Kim's family really tried to see it from her perspective in terms of why she wouldn't leave him. There was a child involved in the relationship also. But Kim heard her family, and she also thought about and considered ending the relationship, but decided on giving it one last try to make the relationship work for the sake of their son, for the sake of their young son. So she did. She said, I'm going to make it work. I'm going to try and give it one last chance and one last shot to see if this truly cannot work, if this man can really not change, or if this is just who he is. She gave it a shot. She gave it a chance. Very shortly after, she realized that he had not changed, and she was seeing through his weaponized vulnerability, because they will do that sometimes. And ultimately, she had suffered and gone through so much of his maltreatment at the hands of Alex that she had made a decision to leave him once and for all and get a divorce. And reportedly, she was in the process of leaving him and leaving the marriage when this happened that night. I'd also like to point out that sometime in 2024, Kim had obtained a protection order against Alex. And based on Alex's mugshot, like the scratches on his face, that night, Kim fought for her life. He unfortunately overpowered her, and she sadly lost her life. She was just 32 years of age, and a young boy has been left without either of his parents. And as if that loss wasn't enough for her family, Kim's family had to go through the very expensive process of repatriating Kim's body back to South Africa. A truly very expensive process. And as if that wasn't enough, their pain was further prolonged by the fact that they had to ask or get permission from Alex, her legal spouse, to be able to get any access to Kim. Described as very hardworking and ambitious, and also very charismatic and easygoing and very easy to get along with. She wasn't just a victim. She was a living, breathing person who loved her son, her mom, her brothers and sisters, her family and friends. She was truly loved. May your soul rest in peace, never forgotten. Rest in peace.